Guys, welcome to the channel. In this video is my Premier League predictions game week 37. Game week 36 was an interesting weekend full of shocking results. Out of the 10 games that were played at the weekend, 6 of these games ended in a draw, and as usual, with the help of VAR, Arsenal managed to get a 1-0 victory at the London Stadium against West Ham United. And some incident in that game, some of these decisions is questionable and it's taking away the beauty of the game. The reason why Premier League is the best league in the world is the level of competition. So certain mistakes or certain errors like this is causing us the beauty of the game. There's an outstanding game that between Manchester City versus Crystal Palace. So make sure you check that video out. Already I made my prediction in that game. This video specifically is for game week 37. So without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Alright, so game week 37 will start on Friday night. It's at the Villa Park. It's between Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Looking at things in game week 36, Liverpool at Anfield got a 1-1 draw against Chelsea at Anfield, which makes Liverpool right now, they are 4th on the Premier League table with 59 points out of 36 games in the Premier League. Looking at Aston Villa too, as of now, they also in game 36 got a 2-2 draw against Burnley. So right now, looking at Aston Villa, they are also 5th on the Premier League table with 59 points, followed by Liverpool. Both teams have the same points on the league table with goals difference. So going to this game at the Villa Park, in game 37 is going to be a very difficult game for both sides. Looking at Liverpool, they have not gotten their right form because in game 35, they lost 3-2 against Manchester United. Game week 36 that they got a chance. Chelsea have already been on 6 consecutive losses in the Premier League, and they managed to get that 1 point at Anfield against Liverpool. What do I think is going to happen at the Villa Park? Aston Villa versus Liverpool. What is my score prediction? I'm predicting this game to end in a draw. My score prediction in this game is a 2-2 draw. Aston Villa 2, Liverpool 2. Alright, moving on from Villa Park, we are going straight to the Old Trafford Stadium. It's between Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. In game week 36, Manchester United managed to get a 0-0 draw against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light in game week 36. That was shocking because, one of the boring things you can ever witness is to watch a full 90 minutes game that nobody scores a goal. It's annoying to watch as a football fan. And in game week 36, Manchester United got a 0-0 draw. Going to this game against Nottingham Forest, who also had a draw in game week 36 against Newcastle United. Let's look at the league table. Manchester United is 3rd on the Premier League table with 65 points out of 36 games in the league. Talking about Nottingham Forest, they are also 16th on the Premier League table with 43 points out of 36 games in the league. So going to this game at Old Trafford, if Nottingham Forest really want to get away with relegation, then they need to get all the 3 maximum points. Because looking at teams that follow them, there is Tottenham Spurs, who is close to them, that they can catch up with them if they lose against Manchester United. So going to this game at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest, what is my score prediction? Looking at this game, I'm predicting Nottingham Forest to get a 2-1 victory over Manchester United. Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. Moving on from Old Trafford, let's go to the GTEC Community Stadium. It's between Brentford versus Crystal Palace. Looking at both teams in game of 36, Brentford went to the Etihad and they lost by 3-0 against Manchester City in game of 36. Talking about Crystal Palace, they also got a draw in their game in game of 36. And looking at both teams on the league table as it stands now, Brentford at the moment, they are 8th on the Premier League table with 51 points out of the 36 games that they've played in the Premier League. And talking about Crystal Palace, they are also 14th on the league table with 44 points out of 36 games. Going to this game, what is my score prediction at the GTEC Community Stadium? I'm predicting Brentford to get a win over Crystal Palace. My score prediction is going to be a 2-1 victory for Brentford. Brentford 2, Crystal Palace 1. Moving on from GTEC Community Stadium, let's go to Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's between Everton versus Sunderland. Both teams in game week 36 got a draw in their games in game week 36. Let's look at these teams on the league table as it stands. Everton is now 10th on the Premier League table with 49 points out of 36 games in the league. And talking about Sunderland, they are also 12th on the league table with 48 points out of the 36 games that they've played in the league. So between Sunderland and Everton is 1 point difference between these two teams. What do I think will happen at the Hill Dickinson Stadium? What is my score prediction? I'm predicting Everton to get a 2-1 victory over Sunderland. Everton 2, Sunderland 1. Moving on to the next game at the Ellen Road is between Leeds United versus Brighton. This is going to be a very tough game coming up in game 37. Let's look at both teams in game week 36. Leeds United, as I'm just recording this video, just ended a 1-1 draw against Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And talking about Brighton in game week 36, also beat Wolves by 3-0. So going to this game in game week 37 at the Ellen Road, what is my score prediction? But before that, let's look at these teams on the league table. Brighton at the moment, they are 7th on the Premier League table with 53 points out of the 36 games that they've played in the Premier League. And talking about Leeds United, they also have 44 points out of 36 games in the Premier League. And it was a crucial game that they managed to get that single point away from Tottenham Hotspur. It's a crucial point for them because game at the Ellen Road between Leeds United versus Brighton. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 3-2 victory for Leeds United. Leeds United 3, Brighton 2. All right, moving on from the Ellen Road, let's go to the Molineux Stadium. It's between Wolves versus Fulham. Talking about Wolves, in game 36, lost against Brighton. And well, Fulham also lost against AFC Bournemouth in game week 36. Let's look at both teams on the league table. As you already know, Wolves has already been relegated. They are 20th on the league table with 18 points out of the 36 games that they've played in the Premier League. And they have already been relegated. And talking about Fulham, they are also 11th on the Premier League table with 48 points out of the 36 games that they've played in the Premier League. And this is Wolves' last home game in the Premier League, so I think they'll prove something to their fans. So in this game, I'm predicting Wolves to get a victory over Fulham. My score prediction in this game is going to be a 1-0 victory for Wolves. Wolves 1, Fulham 0. Let's move on from the Molineux Stadium. Let's go to the St. James Park in game week 37. It's between Newcastle United versus West Ham United. Talking about Newcastle in game week 36, got a draw in their game in game week 36. And West Ham United too at home lost 1-0 against Arsenal, which I think in that game there was a controversial incident that led for Arsenal to got that 3 maximum points against West Ham United. To me, as a Chelsea fan, or to me as a neutral football fan watching that game, I felt West Ham somehow got robbed because that incident throughout the season we've seen Arsenal players doing same thing. Every corner kick that Arsenal played this season looks like a WWE fight, but look at how everything unfolded. Karma caught up with them, and well, VAR decided to put that goal out. That game was supposed to end in a 1-1 draw. To be frank, to be sincere, West Ham deserved that 1 point against Arsenal, but well, it was unfortunate that the VAR ruled out that goal. Me, that's my concern about it. And I think we can't continue watching Premier League and such inconsistent incidents. If it happens to other teams, they take it as goal. If it happens to other teams, we saw that same incident happen to Chelsea. You saw they can rise holding paper. I mean, we've seen this over and over this season, but well, because it's Arsenal, it was ruled out for them. And well, what do I think about this game? West Ham United, this is a must-win game for West Ham United if they really want to survive, because I think Leeds United this even did them a favor because they didn't allow Tottenham Hotspur to get the 3 points. So right now, West Ham still has a chance to survive. There's 2 points difference between West Ham United and Tottenham Hotspur. So every single game left is like a final game that they must win. So going to this game at the St. James Park, Newcastle United versus West Ham United. Looking at Newcastle United right now on the league table, Newcastle United is 13th with 46 points out of 36 games. Talking about West Ham United, they are 18th with 36 points out of 36 games. And going to this game is a must-win game for West Ham United. What is my score prediction? I'm predicting a 2-1 victory for West Ham United. West Ham United 2, Newcastle United 1. From the St. James Park, let's go to the Emirates Stadium in game 37. It's between Arsenal versus Burnley. This game is one of the games that many people will open their eyes to watch, because looking at how things are going in the Premier League with the officiating and VAR decisions, I think this will be a game that millions of people would like to watch, because if Arsenal wins, it means they have to win their last game and they will be crowned as the Premier League champions for 2025-26 campaign season. So going to this game, Arsenal versus Burnley at the Emirates Stadium. Looking at the table, Arsenal is on top of the Premier League table with 79 points out of 36 games. And while going to this game, Burnley already relegated with 21 points out of 36 games. This is a must-win game for Arsenal. And you know, Burnley is not any team that can give Arsenal a tough match or a tough game. But while it's Premier League, anything can happen. The unexpected can happen. What is my score prediction going into this game? I'm predicting Arsenal to get a 2-0 victory over Burnley. Arsenal 2, Burnley 0. Moving on to the next game from the Emirates Stadium, let's go to the Vitality Stadium. It's between AFC Bournemouth versus Manchester City. This is another difficult, another tough game coming up in game week 37. If Manchester City is going to win the Premier League, or if they still want to push Arsenal to the final day, then this is a must-win game. Already, they are going to play in an outstanding game against Crystal Palace on Wednesday. And this video, I'm doing it right after Tottenham Hotspur's game against Leeds United. So it's before the outstanding game. But well, I think this is one of the most difficult games. Looking at AFC Bournemouth, they are unbeaten in almost 12 consecutive Premier League games. Going to this game against Manchester City team, who is also pushing for the Premier League title, I think this is going to be a must-watch game in game 37. Let's look at both teams. Manchester City at the moment, they are second on the Premier League table with 74 points. And Manchester City, they are now second on the Premier League table with 74 points out of 35 games. And going to this game against AFC Bournemouth, who is also sixth on the Premier League table with 55 points out of 36 games. I've already talked about Manchester City going to play an outstanding game against Crystal Palace in midweek. So what do I think will happen in this game? It's a must-win game. And if City want to push it to the final day, they must beat AFC Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium. And could it happen? Probably yes. I'm predicting that game to end in a 3-1 victory for Manchester City. Manchester City 3, AFC Bournemouth 1. On to the last game in game 37 is a London derby, and well, it's at the Stamford Bridge. It's between Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur. This match is one of the most interesting games coming. Will Chelsea allow Tottenham Hotspur to survive, or probably they'll help them get relegated? Or could Tottenham Hotspur also hinder Chelsea from getting European football? Because looking at Chelsea on the league table as of now, Chelsea is ninth on the Premier League table with 49 points out of 36 games in the Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur at the moment, they are 17th on the league table with 38 points out of 36 games in the Premier League. And this is a must-watch game coming up at the Stamford Bridge. Could Tottenham Hotspur survive from this game? It's a must-watch game. And well, me already know I'm a Chelsea fan, but well, Chelsea is not performing. Looking at their results in game week 36, Chelsea got a 1-1 draw at the Anfield against Liverpool. Tottenham Hotspur in game week 36 got a 1-1 draw at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Leeds United. What is my score prediction going into this game in game week 37? Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur. What is my score prediction? I'm predicting this game to end in the 2-1 victory for Chelsea. Chelsea to Tottenham Hotspur 1. The first leg ended in a 1-0 victory for Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So it is what it is. Alright, so these are my predictions for Premier League Game Week 37. Let me know your thoughts and your minds at the comment section. My name is Andy Final. Till we meet in another video, let's have a conversation in the comment section.